So a couple of short stories, really just to illustrate Stan as a joker, really. Stan had a great sense of humour, and you also, perhaps we need to dim the lights a little bit, you ought to be careful when Stan had a camera in his hand, because invariably when Stan had a camera in his hand, you had a glass of drink in your hand as well. So there are lots of pictures laid about the department, and I've got the pleasure of having a few of these in my hand. People with glasses of wine in their hand pulling funny faces. PhD students, a lot of us, working hard. But I can remember going to my first big conference, and there was a guy called Mike Blakemore was on before Stan and myself. And Stan said, get the carousel, Steve. And handed me a bunch of slides. Said, put these into Mike's presentation, he'll not notice. So, me being wet behind the ears, and Stan was a big man, he's my PhD supervisor, did exactly what I was told. And Stan at the time had been working for, I think it was Grattan Catalogue, doing some kind of geodemographics or something like that. And he had an interesting selection of slides in there. This is Danny asleep, sorry, yeah. This is another PhD student asleep. And this is what he gave me. Not office. That was his office. And I lost many pens and important documents on Stan's office floor. But he gave me this. And Mike's busy giving his presentation. Everybody like you starts laughing. And of course, he's given his presentation so many times before and knew exactly what was coming in terms of his slides. But he didn't know that this was in there. And this was in there, and this was in there, but Stan's not sexist. Stan also gave us one for the ladies as well. He gave us Another short funny story this is a Leeds one, is Stan and I used to do a first year lecture course. It was called something about GIS and geographical modeling and analysis or something, and it was JOG 1010, which I thought was really good. It was in binary. And Stan lived in Sheffield with Chris, and it snows a lot in Sheffield. And I live in Northampton, where it snows less. I got into work, and there was this panicked phone call. Steve, I'm on lecturing this morning. I can't get in. I'm snowed under. Can you take my slides from my office and give my lecture? And of course, I went to Stan's office, and yes, there was some slides on his desk, and I'm trying to get them out now. These are not the exact slides. It was a big pile of overheads about this big, and he expected me to give a lecture. So I started. So, I said, oh yes, GIS, it's a global technology, da-di-da-di-da-di-da, and I sort of started, and I was trying to follow Stan's slides. Oops, that's upside down. It doesn't really matter, because I just couldn't do it. I was floundering. And eventually I was just somebody's got to do this, haven't they? And I said, okay, after 5 minutes, I just said, I can't do this. You've got to go home. Have a good day. Enjoy the rest of the day off. So there we go. And that's it for me. So.